If your execution stalled, your work ethic did not fail. You are likely drowning in the blessing you prayed for. Why is that? Because your identity moved, but your structure stayed behind. If scaling makes your chest tighten up, stop. Because you cannot scale a kingdom vision with a worldly motor. Good day, I'm Shelby Frederick, and we are back for another segment of Ask Lady Jules. If your business or your ministry feels heavier than it used to, pay attention. This is not about motivation. This is not about hustling harder. This is about misalignment. High capacity founders freeze when their identity shifts faster than their structure. You outgrow who you were when you started, but your business is still built for the old version of you. And today, we are going to diagnose that execution freeze. I'm going to show you the structural gap that is likely causing your anxiety, and I will give you the faith integrated framework discern, dismantle, and build to fix it. You see, I've seen this pattern in every high level room I've taught in. You have founders who have vision but lack the container. If you are in an identity level transition, you do not need more content. You need an execution map. And let's be clear, an identity shift is not a brand refresh, it is a leadership reassignment. You prayed for growth, God answered, but now that growth feels like a cage you built yourself. And here is how you recognize you are in an identity level transition. Number one is your decisions feel slower than your intelligence. You see the options, you know the strategy, but you delay the commitment. Why? Because the old structure doesn't support the new weight of the decision. Number two, your standards rise, but your current systems feel intolerable. The old processes feel sloppy. Old team rhythms feel noisy. You feel that you walk into meetings and you are physically drained because the container is too small for the vision you now carry. Number three, your language changes. You stop describing yourself as the builder or the hustler, and you start thinking like a steward. You stop chasing growth for growth's sake, and you start protecting alignment. And number four, your outputs become inconsistent. And this is the one that brings founders the most shame. You think you lack discipline. I'm here to tell you that you don't. You are trying to execute from a role you have already spiritually left. And here's the key your identity moved first, but your structure did not update. So your execution now requires a structural rebuild, not a personal pep talk. High capacity founders freeze for one specific reason. They keep trying to run new identity demands through old operating systems. So the freeze looks like overthinking, it looks like procrastination, but the cause is structural. There are three specific freeze patterns that show up most often. Pattern one is role confusion. You hold multiple identities at once founder, CEO, visionary, operator, mother, partner. And when the next season arrives, role clarity must tighten. But instead, founders stay blurred. Blurred roles create blurred decisions, and blurred decisions create delayed execution. Now, pattern two is what I call decision fatigue disguised as discernment. And let's be real honest about this. Discernment produces decisions, but delay produces anxiety. And when you call delay discernment, you are often just protecting your self image. You refuse to risk a wrong move, but you are not called to perfect decisions. You are called to obedient execution. Now, pattern 3 is expansion pressure without structural support. That means that you have more demand, more people, more money movement, but your structure still looks like an early stage hustle. So, what do? You compensate with intensity. And that intensity, it'll work for a week. Then your nervous system sends up the red flag. And what do? What happens? You freeze. Stop scaling chaos and start honoring your nervous system. Because the structural gap is the void between who you are now and how you operate daily. And most founders try to close that gap with two broken strategies. You know what they are? More effort and more information. And I'm here to tell you, neither solves a structural gap. A structural gap requires structural decisions. Now, here is what structure actually means in this context. It isn't just, an org chart. No, 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 no. It includes role clarity, decision rules, weekly operating rhythms, priority architecture, boundaries that protect the assignment. And that's what it looks like. If identity shifts and structure stays the same, execution feels unstable. So I'm here to tell you, you do not lack capacity. You lack containment. And structure is containment, and containment is what turns clarity into movement. Did you catch that? Structure is containment. So if you pour a gallon of water into a shot glass, guess what's going to happen? You make a mess. And that is what you are doing to your business. That is what you are doing to your ministry. That is what you are doing to your organization right now. Faith is not a substitute for structure. Faith strengthens obedience through structure. You see, scripture does not reward our good intentions. It rewards stewardship. Now, here is the framework for navigating this transition. Step number 1 is to discern. You have to discern what shifted. Name it without all of the drama. And then ask, what role did I outgrow? What role did I outgrow? What responsibility increased? What behavior no longer fits my assignment? And then discernment ends with a sentence, not a feeling. For example, my identity shifted from operator to executive leader. That's what it sounds like. Very, very clear. Now, step 2 is dismantle. You have to remove what reinforces the old identity. And this looks like closing loops that drain our attention, removing meetings that have no decision output, stopping work you keep doing just to feel needed. Dismantle is not loss, it's alignment. Now, step 3 is to build. You have to build the new structure that fits the new identity. And this includes a decision filter, a weekly rhythm, and a clear lane for your highest value work. This is obedience expressed as operational discipline. You cannot solve a structural problem with a vision board. You need a blueprint. You need to sit down with someone who can look at the complexity and say, that stays, but that goes. And this is how we rebuild. This is how we rebuild. This brings me to the solution. You can try to discern and dismantle on your own, but when you are inside the bottle, you cannot read the label. And this is why I offer the Season Shift Intensive. This is not a generic strategy session. This is not a 90-minute coffee chat where we brainstorm ideas. This is a high level, one on one strategic partnership designed for the founder who has outgrown their current container. We sit down, you and we do the structural engineering that your business or your ministry is begging for. Here is what happens in this intensive. We diagnose the identity gap. We pinpoint exactly where your leadership has outpaced your operations. We dismantle the noise. We identify the good things you are doing that are actually blocking your God assignment. And we build your 30-day execution map. Now, this map is not a wish list. It is an operating system for the next season. It converts your theoretical identity into calendar commitments. It reduces your decision load. It protects your nervous system. It gives you proof of traction. And I only work with a limited number of individuals in this capacity because this is deep, direct, strategic work. I do not open my calendar for browsing. I open it for building. So, in my closing on today, if you are tired of waking up and renegotiating your priorities every single day, if you are ready to stop scaling chaos and start building a container that can actually hold the vision, then your next step is the season shift intensive. There's an application process. Why? Because I need to know you are ready to dismantle what isn't working. I need to know you are ready to move from busy to effective. And if your application is approved, we will lock in our time and build the structure your new season demands. So don't let another month go by trying to fit a kingdom vision into broken structures. Go ahead and apply today. And listen, I'm here to tell you, let's build. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. If this question reflects your current leadership season, pause and notice your response. Nothing is wrong with you. This points to capacity, not character. This is the work I support inside my private DDB breakthrough coaching cohorts, structural support and sustainable change. This pattern keeps repeating. Deeper support matters. Thank you for spending this time with me. We rebuild first, then we rise.